Hi, my name is Gil Robertson, president of the African American Film Critics Association. And today we're so excited to welcome you to AAFCA's Celebration of Music, a spotlight on key music creatives from this award season. We are going to have Taura Stinson from the popular Netflix film Don't Look Up, speaking with music journalist A. Scott Galloway. I'm gonna let you guys do what you do so well, and I will see you on the other side.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning, Taura.
Good morning, Scott.
Man, when Gil was telling me about this, I was so looking forward to it because we have our own little connection of how we met, which I'll get into later. But awesome. First of all, congratulations on this awesome opportunity of being a part of this movie, which is so much a part of the zeitgeist of what's going on right now in our world. I had to ask, so we're talking about the movie Don't Look Up, and your song is Just Look Up.
Yes.
What is it? What's it like to have been able to write something that is exactly in real time about what's going on in our world today?
It's surreal, Scott. I mean, like, seriously, who knew? I have to give all the credit to our incredible director, Adam McKay, because he had that foresight, And so when Nick gave me a call, Nicholas Bertel gave me a call to ask to co-write the song, I had COVID. So, it was like, to read bits of the script and to know that it wasn't about that, but it was definitely about the divide in our world and just all the craziness and politics and where they shouldn't be, and our focus on celebrity culture and all those things. And it was just, that's what helped it to write itself.
Wow. So now tell me about your relationship with Nicholas and how he came to ask you to be the one to be the lyricist for this, because we'll get into the nuts and bolts of how, there's like two different things that were going on in the song, very explicitly cut in half. But how did you come to work with him on this particular project?
Well, I was working with him on another project. And so when he gave me a call, it was kind of like, I think we had just wrapped up this project. And so when he called me, I thought, of course, he was giving me notes on the other project. And I was like at Costco. And with my, I was with my family over the holidays. And so then he said, hey, I have this song and I think you'd be great. But it's going to be a love song. That it's going to be a believable love song. And I'm like, believable love song? Of course, And he goes, that ends in disaster for the entire world. Hold on. I was like, let me go to my car. And then we talked about it more. Like, I think I traveled back home the next day. And over in the course of that time, a few days later, is when I tested positive. And it was just like, oh my God, I have so much to say. Because it's something else to be in that first wave before there's the vaccines are even available, and to be sitting there after just leaving my parents and like so worried, and then having to write this song. It was like the perfect storm. And
wow.
So when he called me, that it felt like I was like destined to be a part of it.
So now I heard that it took you guys. First of all, this was a song, and I think it's unusual for this to happen. The song was done in advance of the film, because I'm used to people telling me stories that work on the film music side that their job is toward the end of the picture. But yours was with a lot of stress involved. You guys, this song was so integral to the film that it was created and done and everything before the film even started shooting.
Oh yeah.
So that says a lot about how integral it is to the actual script, and it gets performed grandly in the movie and all of that. So tell me what that process was like. I'm writing that song with you had the composer doing the music first, I understand. And
Mm-hmm.
then Ariana came up with the melody, and you wrote lyrics, and then Kid Cudi, I guess, was at the end with his rap. But tell me how that happens in real time a year before the movie even starts.
Yeah. It's crazy because normally that only happens like in animation or if you're doing a musical, but this time it was I didn't realize at first that it was going, you kind of hear like, oh, it's going to be performed in a movie. Sometimes people throw that around and it doesn't happen. And so you just have your fingers crossed, like Ariana Grande and Kid Cudi, even though it's Riley Bina and DJ Cello, you want them to perform it. So I'm like, okay, they're going to perform it. Okay. They'll tell me later that the performance didn't happen. It'll just be in the movie. But Nick called me and said, hey, they're filming it this weekend in Boston. And, just wanted to keep me updated on what's happening. At that point, it had been, I'm not even sure like of the timeline, but I know it took some time. There was, because after it goes, like you said, it went from Nick to Ariana with the melody, and then Nick like tweaking the melody, and then coming back to me with the lyrics and tweaking the melody. And the same thing with Cudi. He came in and he brought his own melody and his own little, big section. So
yeah.
it was having it performed was an added bonus, just like, and if it's the final concert, for humanity, it's
That's right.
last concert in the end of the world, you want the song to be good. You want it to be relevant to the times. And you want it, and from a script perspective and the film perspective, you want it to hit all the marks that it's supposed to as a song, as an original song. So it was a bit of a challenge, but I think we nailed it.
Wow. So lyrically, you came up with they kind of told you what they wanted, and you did a first draft on it. Were there any other hands in the main lyric, or is it ultimately all your work?
It was when I heard her demo of the melody, which by the way, she went in and sang with one take.
Wow.
Yes. So she is like such an incredible talent. She's on The Voice, but she's so much more than a voice. This girl is like big talented. And so she came up with the melody, but she also improvised the end part about "We're all gonna F and die." And that was to me, gave me license to say, I can say F word.
I can drop F-bombs. Yo, it's a whole new day now.
What else would you do at the end of the world, and being mad at the end of the world because you're going to put profit in front of people, because that's what essentially happened. That's why in the film, spoiler alert, why it ends up being, because they're like, oh wait, all these minerals and gold and all this money, and this is what happened. Profit came before people. So yeah, when she did, so she offered those, that was inspiration for me. Then I came into and I wrote every word other than the words that she improvised at the end. And and this doesn't happen often, but when I sent it to Nick and Adam, they were like, cool. No.
Okay.
Yeah, they loved it. And I just, you wait for the ball to drop because, you go through this process so many times and it's fine with me. I have no problems with changes and editing and all that stuff. It's just par for the course. But yeah. I just couldn't believe it. I just kept waiting for the call. Like, okay, wait, so the studio wants to change this, or, the producer there was nothing. And it was just like, wow, that shows how dialed in, on top of like having my own experience with COVID. I'm really, 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 really dialed into like the ocean and how we're killing her. And microplastics, I've actually found like, what is this when you fry fish and it has like a little...
Oh, I know. It's like, what? Where did this come from?
Yes, it comes from us.
Right.
It comes from us.
Wow.
We're doing it. Yeah. So, yeah. That there was no shortage of inspiration. You know what I'm saying? Like, everywhere, from climate change to being from Alabama and Oakland is a big thing in my life, because there's a divide there, because you have the Bible Belt and the certain mindset, and then you have radical Oakland, And so I was also in my own divide, like anti-vaxxers, vaxxers, and oh, there's nothing wrong with we're not polluting anything, plastic bags all day, and we're gonna carry things in our hands. Like, it's seriously, I was in my own little small don't look up.
Yeah, no, I completely get it. I think we've all been there. And I mean, literally a conversation I had a half hour before with a very old and dear friend of mine, who, I was surprised to find out, was anti-vax and everything. And I've known for those kind of things to, end friendships and to disrupt families. And, it's so hardcore.
Yeah.
But, okay, so now when you were creating the lyric for this and putting it with the movie, I know that there's so many things that you just ran down about what's going on. How do you telescope the tragedies and all the different things that are going on into a 3-verse song? Actually, and you only have like 1.5 verses to really deal with what's going on,
Right. Yeah. It was, to be honest, is sometimes, I don't know if it's like a inner voice or God or the universe or Mama Earth or whoever you want to call her, but I just listen to the voice inside, and it sounds so crazy, but it really is true. It was, I wanted, you have, I have notes where I'm like, okay, I'm going to say this, this should be said. I'm like, no, it was very clear. Like, no, we're going to say this. And, and it's really that simple. It was just kind of like, I had so many things to pull from, but I only had this short amount of time. So what's the most important things to say, not only for the song, but to make sure that it sounds good and it's a believable love song, but to make sure they understand, they meaning us, that we as everyone that hears the song is affected by it. Right. That effect of like, oh, it's all beautiful. And then wait a minute, what did she just say? But that's how our world is. Like, oh, America, whoa.
Yeah. Okay, now this particular song is the only one of the ones in this AAFCA Trinity that is not for a Black themed movie. This is for a universally themed movie. Tell me about your journey in getting to the place where you are able to participate and be a part of the larger scope of filmmaking, as opposed to being boxed in with Black film or whatever.
I got this opportunity to write a song for a movie, which was Men in Black.
Yes. And Killing Time, Destiny's Child. Yeah.
So that was like, oh, wait a minute, I can do that. And then at the same time, I wrote a song for an artist named Sarah Divine, and it was on the Beauty Shop soundtrack, I want to say. And the songs are on different ends of the spectrum. And so I'm like, okay, I think this is what I want to do, because I'm able to speak to the different influences inside of me. I'm not pigeonholed into like, oh, I just have to write for this genre. But with writing for film, I'm able to, just jump around and be all the different people. And the interim, like throughout that process, I had to go through it. You can't just like go from here to here. Well, these days it feels like you can. But but back in that time when I first started to now, I have worked with everyone from like Earth, Wind and Fire was one of my dearest moments. Raphael Sadiq and I wrote together for many years and still do. And it's just been me as far as the Black experience, and just this not being, let me tell you, this issue is greatly affecting our community. Climate change, the political like unrest, and just being able, the socioeconomic, the racial divide, all that.
Trying to hold on to our voting rights.
I'm happy to be a part of a wide film that's making conversations come up about all kinds of things, especially when it comes to us.
Now, I wore this shirt today. I think you can probably see that it's our girl Aretha, and yes. And your song is you're going up against this great couple of movies that have been about our sister this year. I want you to talk a little bit about Aretha Franklin and what it's like for your song to be in a competition with a motion picture that's all about, you know, one of the greatest pop music, let alone Black music icons of all time?
I'm happy to be among the number. I'm happy to be a part of the conversation, and you know, to write, to be possibly nominated with Carole King, and us all because we're all there as seeds of Franklin. You know,
Yes.
this is the house she built. These songs that are just like with all this emotion and soul, it comes from her. She's the queen of it. You know, in terms of just the competition of it all, I still know that because I am a daughter of the queen, then we too royalty. And you know, if I think looking down, she'd be happy, just as happy, you know,
Yeah.
just as if any of her daughters were to get on that stage.
Absolutely, I agree. I wanted to close my questioning with that dichotomy of something that's going on a lot in movies today. And, you know, as someone who's writing new songs for a film, what is it like? Because even in Don't Look Up, you know, we have the Mills Brothers popping up, we have the Four Tops, we have, you know, all these classic songs that are a part of the soundtrack. And then here's your newer piece of music. Now, in the case of your movie, I mean, your song is like the moment. It's like the crystallizing moment of the whole motion picture. But in general, what is it like for a contemporary songwriter to have their songs, I wouldn't say competing, but, you know, they're right alongside these long-standing classic pieces of music. And sometimes if the new songs are only used in a certain way, your work gets kind of overlooked, because the minute somebody hears Al Green in King Richard, or you know, Aretha, the whole, you know, all those Aretha songs, and then, you know, what happens to the score? You know, who's even remembers it because of the other songs? What is that dichotomy like for a contemporary songwriter to have your songs in a movie right next to something that's been iconic for 50, 60 years?
To be honest, it's like, and I've actually noticed that, you know, that in this film there, Gabe Pilfer did a great job being the music supervisor, and the needle drops are great. But to have a song that, I think that was Nicholas's decision to say, you know what, this needs a little bit of something. We can't just come in, even though it's a pop song, it can't just be all piano. It has to have some depth, and it has to have some turns, and Cuddy and bringing his rhythmic change. So I think could speak to the reason why the song moves in the way that it does. And I'm happy to be able to stand and of course not in any way against them, or, you know, just like, oh yeah, you know, we were able to have that same impact, but we were able to still, you know, our song to be able to have this moment right here means that people were paying attention to it.
Well, Taura, I just want to congratulate you from the time that I met you to what you've accomplished now, what you'd already accomplished back then. I'm so proud of you, and I wish you the best of luck in this award season and everything. And what a contribution to have made to a movie that means so much about how we're all living right now. You know, I'm gonna give you your flowers now. I don't care what the award season does. You got the Scotty. You know, you might not get the Oscar, you got the Scotty, and I hope you get the Oscar and everything else too.
Thank you. I do too. Thank you, Scott. I really appreciate it. And seeing your face here just made me feel like home. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott. And Taura, thank you for your time and your contributions to this film. On behalf of the world's largest group of Black film critics, thank you for watching and have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Absolutely.